You won't find children in here saying that cabbages come from Asda. They come from the ground because they planted them. They'll have harvested them, and they'll also be taking them home to show their mums and dads what they've done.
Here kids happily eat cauliflower, sprouts, courgettes, mushrooms and peppers. Foods that would send many other kids screaming all the way back to their pot noodles and chips.
We know that it can take up to 13 offerings for a child to accept a new food. That could be cauliflower, it could be a different type of bread, or a yoghurt that's not familiar to them, or a new spice and herb. So we don't expect every child to love every meal that we offer them on the first occasion, but what we do expect is for them to try it and then try it again. That happens with every child, whether they're being served on their own, at home, or in a setting like this. The bottom line about the food that we provide through Grub4Life is that it's healthy food that needs to be enjoyed, and that takes a little bit of time to learn. The beauty of this whole process is that we're starting at the beginning. We're not trying to undo bad habits, we're trying to set good habits right from the start.
I mean, we're talking about an obesity crisis facing this country. First of all, do you believe there is an obesity crisis?
Without a doubt. And I've spent years working at the other end of the scale trying to undo the problems of people who have had generations of bad habits introduced along the way. That's what inspired me to work on Grub4Life. This is an opportunity to start from the beginning, get things right at the outset, and actually prevent the obesity crisis running into the next generation.
I mean, there are lots of sceptics who say, well, all right, even if obesity is a social epidemic, that it's just too big a problem to challenge, to handle. Do you believe that? I mean, or can we change the way society eats and the way we view our food?
I'm certain we can impact the obesity crisis with different generations. I think the way that we tackle it with adults is completely different to the way that we need to address it with teenagers, with school children and with primary school children. My belief, though, is that if you can start off on the right foot, you don't have to then start addressing bad habits that have been picked up. If we wait until children get to primary school, it's often too late. The preferences are laid down in stone there, and you're going to spend the rest of your life trying to undo those.
Well, this is a small patch of area that was originally designed as a quiet garden for the under-3s, and under-3s don't really need a quiet garden, so we've decided to develop this into an allotment. And this is where we're really going to start to involve the parents, not just in preparing it, but actually designing it, involving the parents, involving the children to actually say what they'd like to grow, and actually designing it from scratch.
What sort of things do you think you will grow?
Well, sometimes it's quite difficult because what we really need to do is have some advice. One of our teachers is married to a gardener, so it's very nice to take some advice and actually have things that come that we can harvest at different times of the year. So the sorts of things we know young children are like are the cherry tomatoes, the strawberries,
carrots.
all the carrots, all the things that they can actually pick and eat without necessarily cooking them.
Sadly, not all children's centres are quite like this one. This is pretty much a flagship concern. It's got incredible resources, obviously for the children, but for parents too. They've got all this access to information when they come and collect their children. There's even a computer link so they can access all sorts of children's services, including the Grub4Life website.
Some people are very aware of what their children need. Other parents, they're first-time parents. A lot of our parents have not got family support. They've not got a wider family helping them. The grandparents are in a different country. They come from lots of different cultures. We've got children who speak over 30 different languages, and so I think there's lots of aspects to what's happening, but I'm sure that we can really help people make a difference.
We live in a quick fix society. We recognise that problems come probably too late, and then we want a quick solution. Of course, the solutions to ill health, poor nutrition, obesity, there are no quick solutions, but you see here that it actually is quite simple. You can grow things in a plant pot and a window box, in an allotment if you're lucky enough to have one. It doesn't need to be terribly complicated. The beauty again of the food here is it's familiar things. We would all know the dishes that are on the menu. They're just cooked from scratch, they use simple ingredients, well put together, and then they're nutritionally balanced. The Caroline Walker Trust guidelines are specifically for children in care under 5, and they divide how much of the nutritional requirements of a child should be given, whether they attend part-time, full-time, whether they're having lunch and a snack or the afternoon meal and a snack.
So basically you're providing nutrition that will take care of all of those variables.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a one-stop shop.
And for backup and more ideas, there's the Grub4Life website too.
You might be surprised to know, as well as being a dietitian, I'm a real foodie and I love my food, and that's what I want the children here to understand. This isn't just about eating crudités and seeds and shoots. This is about enjoying cakes at appropriate times. It's about enjoying roast potatoes occasionally, Yorkshire puddings occasionally, gravies, all the sorts of things that we love to eat. None of those foods, it's not about good and bad foods. This is about good and bad diets. And that means striking that ever elusive healthy balance. And I think we're doing it here right from the start.
How can you possibly do that though with a generation of children when what they do in the evening is go home, turn on the television, and they are absolutely inundated with advertising?
The way that we have to make sure this continues outside the centre is also by engaging and working closely with the families and the parents. And that's where the Grub4Life website really comes into its own. We've got support there in terms of chat rooms and expert web chats talking about fussy eating, about problem eating, about carrying on the work that we're doing here. We've got recipes to download. We've even got chat rooms for parents just to share their experiences with their children. Of course, if we would be very short-sighted if we thought that the work here was enough. It never will be. We will always have to go on and work with the families and work with the wider community so that our beliefs and foundation start to become the norm for everybody.
So you're not saying to a generation of children that thou shalt never eat chocolate?
Never. Absolutely never. Nor crisps, nor cake, nor lollipops or ice cream. All of those foods have a place in a healthy diet. It's about achieving a balance, and that's what we're really teaching here, balance. It always sounds so dull when it's talked about in TV interviews, but actually that's the foundation of good health and good nutrition, and that's what we live and breathe here at South Acton.